West Virginia Uncovered hosted its annual Immersion weekend in Elkins, West Virginia in January. Over the course of 72 hours, 12 students produced 6 documentary stories detailing the lives and passions of several Elkins residents.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I definitely was not expecting to come out with such a finished product, you know. I knew it was going to be a lot of work. I'd heard tales of Immersion weekend and how scary it was, but I didn't expect to come out with a final product that I was so proud of, kind of.
Basically from 9 to 9, Friday and Saturday, just constant work. But when I look back at it, it didn't really seem like work. It was kind of fun just being able to focus solely on this one story that we were working on.
I really, really enjoyed this weekend. I like the obsessing, and I mean that in a good way, but I like the fact that they work in teams and they just go over and over and over and why are we this and why that and what do you think of this and how does this sound?
Because I think that's a mood swing if you go from there to there. Mm-hmm.
The advantage of this project is that you have basically no time on the clock. You have to make decisions. You can't just not make a decision.
The main thing that I feel like comes out of Immersion Weekend as far as learning goes is just knowing how to do a story in a quick amount of time, in a real world amount of time. A lot of the editing is the hardest part because you want it to be perfect, and it's hard to do a lot of fine tuning, in one weekend, and you can get a little, worn out with watching your project, over and over and over again. And then just kind of insert the way there's this kind of fabric and this kind of fabric, and it's relaxing. And then she can say, I started knitting when I was in nursing school. It's not too late to introduce that.
No, we listened to it last night. You have a lot of things about the textures of yarn and the different kinds of things and how it just makes her feel relaxed. You're going to come back to it. You don't need to put it all right here. You need about 30 seconds of her saying, this is a dream,
What it was getting the right photographs, because our place was in a dark restaurant, bar, it was really, they were all grainy or it was just too dark to see, and that was definitely the hardest part. Because it'd be really good moments, really great content, but it'd be ruined because I couldn't get the settings right. One
of the good things about having partners is that anything that you might be struggling with, your partner will be there to pick you up. So I definitely like that aspect of it, and I felt that Shay and myself worked as a pretty good team.
I've said this a million times, but there was a moment when Paul and I went through and realized that we had gotten our source scraping the wood off of whatever instrument he was repairing, and it was like, oh my God, we got that sound. It was the best moment in the world. I told Paul I think I fell in love with him a little bit when that happened, because it was the greatest feeling ever.
I can't think of anything I like better than getting a chisel razor sharp and taking off shavings of wood off a neck to fit it correctly that are thinner than your hair. To me, that's more fun than anybody should be allowed to have.
If I could do an Immersion weekend every weekend, I would. And I think people think that I'm crazy to say that because they really are exhausting. I mean, you have to be totally invested in your project from morning to night pretty much for 3 or 4 days in a row. But it's such a good experience, and I feel like the stories are so deep because you really have to, establish a connection with your subject, and you really have to just figure out who they are in, a short amount of time.
I love Immersion Weekend. I really like it. I'm really glad that I got involved with this starting last year and that I've been able to stay involved. I don't know, it's a really good time because you bond with your classmates and you also, produce something that you can be proud of.
The stories from the 2011 Immersion Weekend were published by the Elkins Intermountain and West Virginia Uncovered. They can be viewed here.